Get to Abuja, we've got Mr. Aide, who is a development economist, to give us an impression of his assessment of how all of these plans and programs have developed in the economics of the people out there. Good morning and thank you for joining us. Do you think this policy is working?
Good morning for having me. First of all, can I say this? The Office of the Presidential Advisor on Job Creation was actually done by me and given to President Jonathan. But I wanted that office to be elevated to that level of the National Security Advisor. And that has not been done. We hope that in future we make that office to be very as high as that of National Security Advisor, so that the advisor to the President on Job Creation will be meeting with the President visually every morning to intimate him on the efforts being done, efforts being made in order to create more jobs. Having said that, let me get to your question. You know, job creation is not a function of just giving people access to setting up their businesses. Because if people set up their businesses and left alone, they will not go beyond that. We have to leave conventional approach and take unconventional approach. What do I mean by that? First and foremost, we have to look at what other countries are doing that we are not doing. For example, if we make sure that our small business owners are formalized in the first place. Two, we make sure that our small business owners have access to raw material, have access to finance, have access to product development, have access to raw material, have access to forex, have access to infrastructure, have access to market and marketing. When you do all these things that package them very well, I will assure you our small businesses will grow. And when our small businesses grow, our small businesses will create jobs. And when our small businesses create jobs, our small businesses will spread prosperity. That is the step we have to take. And this cannot be done the way this government is doing it. Because the government has not come up with a master plan that detailed all these things I've said.
Yeah, let me quickly ask you, Mr. Mgbara, my apologies, because yes, we did also ask him about the long-term plan. But in the short term, which they say that's what this program is going to address, spending the time, all of those strategies are put in place. So assuming without conceding that, yes, they can afford or imbibe those with a view to implementing those policies which you've highlighted, what do they do in the short term? The ones that are being implemented now, is it working? No.
What they are doing right now is like handing people money or handing people paper in terms of you have now formalized your business, and handing people little money and they tell them you are now helped. Government does not help people by giving them such funds. Government should help them by looking at the leakages in the system. There's no way you hand a poor businessman even 1 million when an imported, he cannot even produce. And because imported goods are cheaper than his products, there's no way he can market his products. He doesn't even have access to forex. So what I'm saying in essence is that they are putting the cart before the horse.
It is if I could rephrase this,
where we are today.
Yeah, okay, for instance now, when they say that there's this trading money initiative, then there's one for small-scale farmers, for those kind of people who do not need forex, what plan should be implemented for those people?
The plans you have to implement is to give them access to raw material. Give them access to the market. Because access to the market is very difficult. Until recently, I used to produce cashew nut. I used to process cashew nut. But I discovered that I didn't have access to the market. If I go to all the malls, I discovered that imported cashew nuts are the ones they prefer. And also because when they buy those cashew nuts, they pay 90 days later and things like that. So you have to give them access to the market. But you cannot give them access to the market when imported goods.
Well, with all due respect, Doctor, I think we need to take a holistic understanding of what we do and also understand the demography by which we target. When you're targeting small businesses, really small businesses, like you rightly said, they have no need for forex. What has always happened with our rural farmers is being that, oh, we're able to plant the little we have no access to market. What we've done with the homegrown school feeding has created a whole lot more healthy and prosperous rural farmers. They may not be buying houses in Banana or buying cars, but they are better off. Because what have we done with the school feeding? We say it's a homegrown school feeding because we say that, number one, we must eat what we grow in the community. So it's designed such as the father is the farmer in the farm, the wife buys the food that the farmer produces to cook, because it's the community women as well that cook the food to feed their child, who is in primary 1 to 3 in the public primary schools right now in 26 states, going up to 36 states and the FCT. So in that kind of situation, that same farmer who before the beginning of the program could not really sell his produce, really now needs not, a market is being created for his produce. I can tell you right now that even the number of eggs that are required to feed these children, 1 egg a day is enormous.
But if I could just bring this in, but if you look at those programs as well that you're putting in place for those at the bottom end of the pyramid, yeah. For instance, why is, you can let us know if the government is looking into it, the stamp duty, for instance. If you give them 10,000 naira or 20 or 50, if they deposit those monies into the bank, they are charged stamp duty. They will feel it much more than those at the upper end. Yeah. And then some of those other policies, like the taxes they get from the market, some even say, look, that 10,000 naira is just for shops. So it may not address some of those key problems.
I think we should really go into the field and also understand and see a life impact of, the trader, that woman, that bolly seller. What concerns the bolly seller? The bolly seller.
How do they get the money? Isn't it through the bank?
No. It's not. They don't get it through the bank at all.
You don't get their details through.
No, it's mobile wallet. So they don't even. There's no BVN associated with those category. Because we have 3 levels. So let's not mix up with trader money, with market money and farmer money. Yes. Those ones you need BVN, but for someone who is but for someone who is doing 50,000 naira worth of business,
so
to buy something,
there's no point looking into those policies because they will still pay taxes in the market. They pay for shops with some of those money.
Policies and reforms, economic policies and reforms, there are reasons we can always look at those things. Stamp duties. I mean, for example,
it was implemented by this government.
Yeah, but when we look at again, those who look at the economy, they look at it in a rounded, holistic figure. Let's also remember that we as a country, we're dealing with revenue issues, and we need to grow our revenues internally more than even, because we always talk about growing the revenue internally. So I think that those are the reasons why you have some of those things, and it's not targeted primarily for that small business person. It's really for a lot of our large corporates and large business people who we also know the issues with taxes when it comes to them. But really, in terms of what the social investment does, it's really taking care of people who are at the bottom of the ladder, who before now never used to have access to finance. I mean, those you give 50,000, there was no bank that was catering to them before now. Okay. But they've been able to take that money, add on to their business, return the money. Let's also remember this is not a grant. They're returning the money to be able to access even more.
So Dr. Mbara, from his perspective, this seems to be achieving the purpose, particularly for those at the bottom end of the ladder.
You see, my brother Chamberlain, the problem is that when we want to say the truth, people become angry because we want to say the truth. It's only the truth. When we say that, it's the truth that will set us free. The trade money is, for me, is unnecessary and is a diversion of public fund because there's no accountability that follows it. 2, it will not achieve the purpose they set out for it to achieve because it's too small to have any impact, as you already said yourself. What this government should do, or should have done, is to come up with a policy or a law that will make it mandatory that all goods sold in this country, at any market, at any mall, must be 80% locally sourced. So that those big companies like ShopRite will now go to small businesses and fund them. Somebody who is producing egg, they can now give the man who is producing egg more money to produce 1 million eggs for them in a week and things like that. That is the best way. You see, government has no business being in this business. What the government should have done should have been to help formalize small businesses, give them access to the things I said earlier, and make policies that will make it difficult to import the same goods that the small business owners are producing.
All right.
That is the simple economics.
Okay. Well, at this point, I'm afraid we need to just wrap this up. But we'll get both of you back, and then let's take a look at this a little in a much more detail. But Mr. Odelim Imagbara, development economist, and Afolabi Inoko, the senior special assistant to the president on job creation and youth employment. Thank you for coming on this morning, and all the best. We're back in a moment. Don't go away.